let's see. It looks like I have it on altimeter. 46 miles today. That's a good chunk. 201 miles so far. That's about a quarter of the total miles that I've put on this bike since resurrecting it, all to get a sandwich. That's why I love motorcycles. Seeing as how the Fat Boy's done, that means I can get back on the Tour Glide. So before I disable it, in preparation for its trip to Sturgis, which we've started to make plans for, I figure I'll do one sort of scenic ride in Brooklyn. The Interboro, now known as the Jackie Robinson. So let's warm her up. Get our gear on, hit the road. I think I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna have to get some gas first. I'll go with a full tank because I think I want to take the streets. I could do the Bell Parkway, but I think it'd be more interesting to take the streets of East New York. All right, let's hit the road. Morning, so I'm hoping there won't be too much traffic, but we're gonna find out. First stop, gas station, and then I think, normally I would take the Belt Parkway. It'd be the easiest way to go. It's just Belt Parkway, Pennsylvania Avenue, straight down. But I think we're gonna go up this way and Avenue N, I think it is. I don't know. We're going to explore and find out together. Well, I haven't really ridden this thing that much to know what kind of fuel economy it's getting. But I wonder how it's going to do going to Sturgis. We've got that trip pretty much locked up. Well, not locked up. Beginning stages. So we've started our planning. We've booked some stuff. And you'll be curious to see how this thing does. It's going to be myself on the old Tour Glide and my friend Kris, unless he changes bikes by then, on a 2024 Road Glide CVO ST. Separated by 40 years and 40 inches in displacement. It's going to be curious, interesting. He might not get that much better gas mileage than me. Knowing him, we will likely have a extra gas can. So, hopefully we won't need to use it. But we'll have one if we need it. So, I think... Now, here's the other thing I'm going to have to do before taking this trip is mount my phone somewhere, preferably maybe down here. I don't know, I gotta see. I don't think I'm gonna have a windshield. I might, something that's removable, but definitely gonna want to have my phone, because like right now, even though I know Brooklyn relatively well, I'm going in a direction, and the Interboro, Jackie Robinson, is gonna take us into Queens. I don't know that all that well. I know the highways. I know where I think I want to go. Haven't 100% decided, but I feel a little lost not having my phone, which is kind of sad if you think about it, right? Because I grew up with paper maps. No, not Avenue M. Avenue N. N is where we want to go. So, yeah, I grew up with paper maps and having to remember where you want to go. I still remember MapQuest when, you printed out directions, and if you made one wrong turn, it was like, crap, now where do I go? Dunkin' Donuts. Did not know there was one here. Yeah, so growing up with all that, and I don't know, I guess you let technology start to run things. I've gotten so used to having the like Apple CarPlay functioning at like all times, and like even just something as simple as, oh, I'm going to work. I know the route to work, but I'll have the damn thing on, and it's made me become a little nervous when I don't have it, especially going cross country. So I'll have to figure something like that out just to make myself more comfortable. And gas gauge I'm less concerned with. You know, I'll figure out, I'll have the speedometer and odometer working, so I can figure out how many miles I'm getting to more or less a tank, so I know how far we can go before it's time to search for gas and hopefully find one that's open. In 165 or so miles I have put on this, and if you're wondering how I know, this Psych Plus speedometer has an odometer, which has been on most of the time when I'm riding. You know, sometimes it loses satellite signal, or sometimes I forget, so there might be a few miles less that I actually put in. That said, in the 165 or so miles that I've ridden this thing, it's been pretty good, but it's going to be a whole lot better if it's going to make an 1,800 or nearly 1,800 mile trip, because that's our plan. Our plan, I think, is over 4 days, so 4 stops. First is somewhere, I think, in Ohio, then Chicago, then I think just when we get into South Dakota, and then Sturgis. Pretty sure I need a gas cap. I think that's what leaked when it got knocked over when the original owner had it. So I need to make a mental note that replace the gas cap. I think this will be my mental note. This will remind me, replace the gas cap. Gas cap will be the thing I forget. You know, it's like the smallest thing this bike needs right now, but it'll be the thing I forget. It sat for a little while I was working on the Fat Boy, and now that it's together, been riding the Fat Boy. I still haven't done the suspension. That's the winter project. But when I did get it running, it has a little bit of a lifter tick. My friend Jimmy had mentioned that he heard it in one of the early videos, so definitely going to address that. The whole top end of the motor, likely. Avenue end to Flatlands. That was actually easier than I remembered. I thought I had to make some wiggles to do that, but I guess not. But yeah, I'm gonna go through the top end of the motor because and the hoses. I think I should address the oil hoses. I mean, if anyone thinks I'm wrong, let me know. Or a suggestion on maybe where to get the oil hose kits. I'd love to get something that was, you know, already pre-formed, but I think I can do that while still maintaining the overall look, character, and age patina of the bike. Same as I'm going to do with the suspension. You know, anything shiny and new is going to be stuff you can't see. Everything you can see, hopefully, is going to maintain this aesthetic. Flatlands Avenue and Flatbush Avenue. Not surprised they're running around. This is interesting too, though, because Flatlands and Flatbush also two areas where the names are a holdout from when the English occupied New York, or the Dutch, I forget. Well, either one. May have started with the Dutch, and then they named it something funny, and then the English renamed it something we could understand. That's happened a bunch of times. I think even the term Yankee comes from that. But yeah, we're gonna head down Flatlands where the scenery gets interesting. It's early in the day though. I'm hoping no traffic, and I'm hoping to be able to get to Pennsylvania and get on to the Interboro without an issue. And I'm pretty sure I know where I'm gonna go pick up a sandwich from. I'm just not 100% sure how to get there, so I'll probably have to stop and cheat and use my phone, which is warmer than I anticipated. I'm wearing Chaps. I don't know if you could see, but these are actually Chaps that were worn, I'm assuming, hopefully with pants on, and given to me by the original owner of this bike. So this is my first time trying them, and yeah, I like the concept. You know, I like the fact that I can just throw them on. I don't know what kind of protection they offer. Maybe in my head I think they're giving me some protection. Maybe they make versions that give you more protection. That'd be something. That'd be convenient to go to work with. You know, I could just put on whatever pants I would normally wear for work and just throw these over it. 'Cause that's always been a big concern for me. Not concern, it's time consuming, changing pants or putting pants over or something like that. But yeah, this would be a time saver. Don't know much about them aside from the jokes you get from wearing assless Chaps without pants on. So like I said, fingers crossed he never did that. But if he did, they're over my jeans, so I guess it doesn't matter anyway, right? Yeah, it shouldn't matter. But I would love something like this that offers real protection. Anyone has a suggestion, you know, please let me know. Having that phone is become a lifeline for me. Speed cameras, they're everywhere. I mean, I'm just noticing how many I'm passing. Seems to be more here than I'm used to. And I'm also used to having the phone let me know speed camera ahead, you know, or red light camera ahead, which I guess is still bad because I should be paying attention. I get it, but you know, you get caught in the moment, and the last thing you would want is something such as intelligent speed assist, which is just going to artificially slow you down. This time of day, and it's a weekend day too, but this is relatively traffic free. I should shut up, but it has been relatively traffic free. There's another one of the speed cameras. They love to hide them, like right behind a pole, behind a sign. You know, it's a money grab. Same as this congestion pricing that they're reinstating, which we knew they would right after the election. I love her spin on it, because it's not going to be $15, it's going to be $9. So she's putting money back in the pockets of New Yorkers. Something tells me she's not very good at math, because currently they charge you nothing, and they're going to charge you $9. So they're taking $9 out of your pocket. Now they wanted to charge $15, and her math is we're charging you $6 less, which is $6 back in your pocket, but you first have to take the $9 out, so I'm still -9. I mean, I could be wrong, but math is one of those things that doesn't care about opinions. So yeah, I think they're screwing us. It's one more reason why I can't wait to get out of New York. This would have been exit 13 on the belt. The next major intersection we should come to is Pennsylvania, and we'll be making a left. Pennsylvania would be exit 14. Yeah, I don't think I would have saved much time taking the belt. Might have saved a few bumps. Probably not, because the belt is, I want to say, right behind the BQE, as it's not as much of a parking lot, but it's certainly a construction project that never ends. Basically, kind of on the other side of those buildings, before they built the Gateway Center at exit 15, was a nice little spot where we would street race back in the day. And ahead of us is the next big intersection is Fountain Avenue. Anybody that was around New York City and was in the street racing scene back in the day would remember it. Now, however, we are on Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania runs right into the Interboro Jackie Robinson. As far, we're almost to a road that some people might remember from their youth and other people don't even know exists in New York City. It's a sort of an anomaly. You're so used to straight roads, low speed limits, not much scenery. It's interesting, especially if you can get to it when there's minimal traffic and no accident. That's the other problem. Lots of accidents. Linden was another spot back in the day where they'd line up and run down to the conduit. I want to say back in the day, but I know for a fact street racing is alive and well in New York City. You know, well, in the country, I guess, in general. But, you know, I know a lot of people still in that scene, and the cars are way faster than when I was running around. Geez, I mean, you know, you had a quick car if you were running like 12s, like forget 11s, you know. I mean, I'm not talking about money racers. I'm just talking about, you know, your normal runaround cars. Now, shoot, you got cars that coming out of the factory running 10s, sometimes quicker. But yeah, Linden was one of them. There was a parking lot. Geez, I can't remember the name. If anyone remembers where they used to meet, there was a parking lot where you could set up a race, run right down to the conduit, do your race before your car got hot. You got to remember, this is back in the time when you know, you're trying to keep everything cool and we didn't have the technology. But yeah, you can run down the conduit, do your race, and then get back to the parking lot, do whatever you got to do. Either hand over the money, argue over money. Well, it is what it is. That's the game. That's the scene. The dreaded Nissan Altima. I'm actually not worried about this one because it looks like it has a real plate. It doesn't have tinted windows. It doesn't have, you know, missing wheel covers. It's not completely banged up. Normally, that's the one you got to watch for. That's the one that's driving like a lunatic, blowing every light. It's scary, and it's not just Nissan Altimas. And look, I have a GTR. I get it. Nissan makes great cars, but it's that type of car. You see it, you can see it coming from a distance, and as soon as you do, it makes you nervous because you don't know if they're gonna hit you. The entrance to the Jackie Robinson Parkway, the old Interboro. Yeah, this is certainly an interesting part. We're gonna end up going. Cypress Hill is gonna be on one side of us. Cemeteries, little curvy. You can see why people get into accidents over here. You got your cemeteries over there. But it can be a nice road. It can be a nice road. Gets you right to, I believe, the Grand Central, which you can then take up towards LaGuardia or towards Astoria, which is, again, I think, where I'm going to end up. And at T-plates. When the road's smooth, she rides good. Problem comes when the road's not smooth, which is most of New York. There's actually guys, I've seen videos posted of like trying to time their run through this, and I get it, you know, especially in New York City. You've got basically no curvy roads. Granted, in order to do this, you got to do it at night, and it's still real dangerous. You never know what you're going to run into around here. In New York City in general, you never know what you're going to run into. You know, you could have a broken down car, you can have an accident. But here's the thing you don't often see, I think, on a highway in New York. That slow speed sign. Maybe it's a good thing, because the way New York City maintains their roads, it's probably better off that there are not this many roads or roads with curves like this. But if you can manage to get out here early in the day on a weekend, it is a quite nice scenic road to traverse. Would help if I let the clutch out. Prius. Just to slow down, watch. Not that I'm trying to go very fast, but you know, let's make it fun. Even Prius owners have to want to have fun, right? I mean, maybe not, because if they did, they wouldn't have Priuses. Nah, it can't be. Nah, no one can be that miserable. And then again, this is New York City. And this guy, he's proving to be that miserable, at least to me. And it's fall too. You get the foliage. You don't have to go upstate for foliage. I mean, if you want a lot of foliage, but a little bit. This is worth it. Woodhaven Boulevard, so we're already crossed over into Queens. Again, you would not expect this if you're from outside of New York City. Of course, if you're from outside of New York City, you probably don't expect the horrors that actually... Oh, look, old police cars. That's kind of cool. That looked like a Bubble Caprice and maybe a Fury. I'm no expert in that. My friend Mike is. He would have told me what year and maybe what precinct they belong to. That's kind of cool. But yeah, this is one of those gems within New York City, probably done way before the current Department of Transportation and imbeciles that run our city got in power. And it's great that it's still around, you know, because I wouldn't be surprised somebody in city government would love nothing better than to get rid of this road. Maybe make it a park, because, you know, we need more parks. Something like, I don't know, 30-40% of the city is parks. We need more of them. But we're coming to the end. Van Wyck Expressway, and then I think like I said, the Grand Central, which I'm really not sure if that's the direction I gotta go to get to where I want to get lunch. But I'm gonna go with it. What's the worst thing that happens? I get lost and I gotta pull over? I mean, there are worse things than that. I like tunnels, but they're better when it's on a louder bike. Oh, look at this jerk off. He was driving a Fusion, Ford's version of the Altima. Well, that's it. That was the Interboro. Jackie Robinson Parkway. I don't know what year that it got renamed to Jackie Robinson. I just remember it being the Interboro, and so I continue to call it that. even though I know it's not that. But I do the same thing with the Triborough Bridge. I know it's the RFK, but it's been the Triborough for so long for me. I have it's just easier for me to remember. Battery Tunnel, the UL Carry Tunnel. I'm never going to call it the UL Carry Tunnel. Yeah, you got to be kidding me with that. Okay, let me try to not get lost, because I'm uncertain exactly where I am and where I gotta go. I think LIE towards Manhattan. That makes some sense, because I want to go to Astoria, and Astoria is close to Manhattan. I could be completely wrong on this, but we'll find out together. I'm telling you, I think this is going to be a comfortable ride out to Sturgis. Just even the seating position, I like it very much. You know, once the suspension's sorted out, slight throttle response issues are resolved, and I'm confident in the engine, yeah, I think this is going to be a real comfortable ride to Sturgis. I mean, I hope so, because the way we're setting it up, it's going to be 400 miles a day, 4 days in a row to get there with a... Well, we're going to be doing a couple of stops, but one of them is going to be Chicago. Go to my friend Kris's friend Gigi's restaurant. So that'll be exciting. I mean, hopefully not too exciting, because exciting could be good and bad. And when you mention like exciting in New York or exciting in Chicago, yeah, like horror movies start out exciting, you know. Let's see, are we getting off? Yeah, let's get off. Let's get off and figure out which direction I'm going. No better place than a no standing zone. LIE towards Manhattan. And I've this jerk off Tesla. So I entered it in my GPS, which is now talking to me on my headset. I shouldn't get lost, but I'm going to Sal, Kris, Charlie's for the Bonb. I'll argue to death to anyone that says otherwise that Brooklyn has, I think, the best food, but this sandwich is pretty good, and it is a Queens staple. I have to give credit where credit's due. And then, so you get in the right lane, and then it tells you after the stop sign, make a left. Really should just say, hey, guess what? You're screwed. I couldn't even tell you what's in it. It's like everything, which is one of the reasons why not only is it good, but even at the ever increasing prices, I think it's still a good value. I'm not sure what it's up to now, although I wouldn't be surprised if it's, well, probably near 20 bucks. But still worth it. The Boulevard of Death, they used to call it. People would get killed all the time trying to cross it. So they've slowed the speed limit down, and they changed all the timing of the lights. I'm sure it helped, although I have to think it would probably help if you just teach pedestrians, you know, like kind of how I was taught as a kid, like, hey, you might have the right of way, but a car weighs, let's say, an average of 4,000 pounds. You know, give the car the right of way, because even though you may be right by law, would you rather be right by law in the hospital, or would you rather still be upright and walking and live to fight another day? I don't know. That's how I was taught as a kid. Maybe my parents were wrong, but I have a feeling they were onto something. Which is keeping the navigation going in my headset, But I just realized it's also warning me for all the speed limit and red light cameras. So that might be an option. Definitely something I should consider. Allow me to focus on riding rather than keeping my head on a swivel looking for every new red light and speed limit camera that the city is using to try to pick my pockets. Huh. Learn something new every day. Bike lane. I'm on a bike. That counts. Hopefully the last one. Hopefully for not too long. Oh, I think I know where I'm at. Yeah, we're heading for the Triborough, the RFK bridge. Oh, Astoria Boulevard. All right, we're getting there. We're almost there. Astoria is an interesting enclave. Used to be, I guess it still is. There's a lot of Greek influence, a lot of Greek foods. But with its proximity to Manhattan, has become a place for Manhattan transplants. So there's still some great stuff in Astoria. But I guess it's part of New York's charm, right? So New York had an old charm with its Little Italy, and I don't know if it's Little Greek, but it was you know, all those old school neighborhoods that are kind of dwindling as people leave the city, but they're being replaced by a new wave of stuff. And a new wave of restaurants and you know, sort of fusion stuff too. Like, I love having places like Barcade where you can go, sometimes grab a bite, get a drink, and play video games from my youth, you know, arcade games from my youth. So I gotta give credit to New York ever evolving. Could do with one less coffee shop. I love coffee, but I don't think we need a coffee shop on every corner. All right, we're almost there and I'm getting hungry. Here we are, Sal, Kris, and Charlie's. No standing. All right, so we won't stand on the street. Sidewalk works just fine. Sal, Kris, and Charlie's. Let's get a bomb. Don't need to take it off. Not eating it here. Here we are, bomb in hand. She's healthy. Kinda wish I could have just sat here and ate the sandwich, but you know what? Beggar life. I throw it on the cold side, hit the road, head back home, and really enjoy this. It is cool. There's still a lot of Greek influence around. Greek American Retirement Club, Greek flag on the Mediterranean foods, which probably has some awesome foods. There was a place, I forget what street it was on. My friend Nick at work took me, called Titan. And you got some good stuff there. Some spanakopita and some frappes or fredos. I'm told that's for the younger generation. So sometimes when we try to be young, as long as my friend Kris doesn't take mine and throw it out the window. I'm not saying that happened, but thanks, Kris. Right here. I'm not familiar, but Steinway's a main thoroughfare, so let's assume I do. Let's go. Well, that was odd. One more thing to add to the list is go through this carburetor, I think. Well, also the spark plug wires. They're still original, and they were sitting outside for 20 years, and who knows how old they were. But I think I'll address all of that when I get the top end apart. See, because sometimes she pulls good. Well, I mean, just kind of revs up a little bit, but this makes me wonder why sometimes it coughs, why sometimes it breaks up a little bit, and then, you know, on and off the throttle, and she's good. Hopefully, I have enough time between now and it looks like July 26th is when we are going to be hitting the road. So between now and then, I've simply got to get every single thing on this bike sorted out, and still there's no guarantee. That's part of the fun, though. Because if everything was guaranteed, if everything was boring, everything went as planned, then what fun would life be? See, she runs good. Right up until she doesn't. Which, fingers crossed, won't happen. It's impossible, but I swear I could smell that sandwich. Maybe it's the lingering odor from being in Sal, Kris, and Charlie's. Oh, but it smells good. It smells good for sure. Well, as we're coming up to the Kosciuszko Bridge, or the Kosciuszko Bridge, either way is correct, I think. Although I think Kosciuszko is correct. That's my way. I won't bore you with the rest of this ride. And unless something interesting happens, which you never know, but I'm going to just focus on getting back to the house and the smell of that sandwich that's in my head right now. Cool to see Manhattan in the distance, see that little bit of haze, which I find interesting because, see, and I said I wouldn't say anything until I found something interesting, and then I find something interesting to say, or interesting to me to say. But I think it's interesting that the only reason we perceive distance of buildings like that, and how the buildings over here seem closer than the ones over there, is because of our atmosphere. Is because there's molecules and there's stuff that dilutes the light, showing, hey, that's closer than that, which is closer than that, and this is closer than all of them. Well, I think that's a cool little scientific fact. It's one of the reasons why, and this is the reason why I know it, it's one of the reasons why pictures on the moon, and I won't get into whether or not we actually went to the moon, but if you assume everything, pictures on the moon don't seem to show distance because there's no atmosphere to put a haze in front of the mountains and stuff. Excited over the Sturgis trip. I said before, I find this bike comfortable. I got friends, hi Kris, But I got several friends that insist on like highway pegs, and I don't know if I'm with that. Like, I don't know if that feels comfortable, kind of being in the birthing position. Although, actually, as I'm doing it right now, it is kind of comfortable. I guess there's still time to debate that, but I'd love to hear people's opinion on it. You know, whether or not it's something worth doing. All of my long trips have been on bikes without highway pegs, and well, some of them have been on bikes that most people wouldn't consider, you know, to be a tourer or a highway bike, like my Tuono, which I love. I love having my feet, you know, under me. I guess having the pegs gives you the option. You don't need to use them. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Is it worth it? Is it something I should consider? Is it worth having even if I don't use it? Because if I want to use it, I could use it. Or is throwing your feet up like this good enough? Because I got to tell you, the way you hug the tank, yeah, it's actually kind of comfortable. Oh, now I'm going to find myself doing this all the time. Oh, Kris, maybe you're right. I don't know. But it is kind of comfortable, the birthing position. Let's not mess around. Let's make it back to eat that sandwich. Too good to be true. I will say it looked like 3,500 was 70-something miles an hour. Why am I splitting? Why am I splitting when there's a shoulder? See? Breaks up. But then doesn't. Ay, ay, ay. Another thing on the list. The way she runs good, she sounds clean. It's got to be something in the carburetor. Let me know what you think. Carburetor, fuel, ignition related? I'm thinking maybe that emulsion tube is not as cleaned out as it could have been. You know, I cleaned most of what I could and replaced the bare minimum in the carburetor just to get it running. Maybe it's time to pay a little bit more attention to the internal workings of the carburetor, make sure they're clean, maybe change some things that might look questionable. That makes some sense. Doesn't necessarily mean I'll do it, but no, I gotta do it. I mean, that, as stupid as it sounds, that I want to make this thing work without replacing parts, like, that makes no sense, right? See, it revved up clean. Seems to be in the higher gears. I'll take that piece. See if anyone can guide me in that direction. In the higher gear. Maybe it's starving for fuel. Huh. Well, that's possible. Makes sense, right? Because you need more fuel in the higher gears. Because that was $5,000. And that pulled pretty good. Ah, and in third gear, as I start to lay into it, but if you're gentle on it, it seems to pull through. And if you keep, you know, quarter throttle, quarter turn, half turn, whatever, plenty of power to do what you got to do to ride on the highway. She runs good. Nah, it's got me thinking. Like, I'm in 5th right now. No issues other than this Subaru. Not that he's wrong. Technically I'm wrong, and not that I'll admit that. But yeah, you roll on it gently and she's fine. Even a little bit more aggressive. Huh. I'm gonna say fuel. Although I'm gonna probably put spark plug wires in anyway. I mean, you might as well, right? But if I had to guess, I'm thinking fuel related. Because here she is, 3,500, 75 miles an hour, no issues. If only traffic was like this every day. If traffic was like this every day, I wouldn't be bending so many laws, that's for sure. RPM related. I don't know. I hate that it's in my head now, right? So now everything I think about, every time I'm even shifting gears, it's like, will it do it now? What'll it do this time? What'll it do if I do this throttle? What'll it do if I do this throttle? And trying to just record it all in my head. Well, also record it on camera, so that's a good thing. That'll be, I can look back and say, hey, look, I did this at this RPM. It's just strange because it runs and it idles so good. It's just when you start getting aggressive, I don't know. Fat Boy's kind of the opposite way. I mean, once it's warmed up, it idles fine, but let's see. Oh, see? And that wasn't even a lot of throttle. Speed camera. Huh. Well, I guess that'll be something to find out in the spring. Because this will be the last ride. I should have time. And I'll go through the whole thing. You can hear that slight tick. Yeah, I'll be much more comfortable going through this whole thing. And I'm back at the gas station to get a seltzer, because to me a seltzer, the only thing that goes good with that sandwich. All right, that'll be it for today, and well, that'll be it for this year for the tour glide, riding the tour glide, I should say. Because now we're gonna get into the guts. But gotta do what you gotta do, especially if the goal is to take this thing nearly 1,800 miles across the country. Well, if you've stuck with me this far, I appreciate it. And now it's time to eat something, and then some work to do on the see, people don't pay attention. Don't pay attention. There's some work to do on the GT500. Blower belt started coming apart, sitting in traffic on the way home the other day. But food is the priority. Food's where we're at. Oh, 40 some odd miles. Worth it. Worth it for sure. here we are, a bomb. Just as wet and messy as I remember it. The way it should be. Yeah. Let's dig into this thing, huh? Oh. You want to talk about a sandwich. It doesn't get much better than this right here. Well, I'm gonna dig into this, and like I've said, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for commenting. There were a few questions in this video. Maybe somebody can guide me in the right direction. Either way, I appreciate it. If you've made it this far, you know, thank you. More than worth the 50-mile round trip. Have a great day, everyone.